Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is OTC. I trade with Bear Bull Trader Community, and this is my recap of my workhorse trade today. So before I jump into my trade, let's just take a look at what workhorse has been doing, right? Let's just draw a trend line here. I mean, it's just been going up and up and up these last few days. Basically, ever since yesterday, with Nikola's announcement of their team up with General Motors, but I may or may not have mentioned to you guys that this stock, I've actually had a close eye on it, and I have it as a long position. I got in down here just on this day here. What day was that? Yeah, that's 6/29. I got in here at 14:30. And I got in long and then took this bounce all the way up and sold 80% of my position. And then when it came back down through here, where is that epic pen? There we go. So I entered on 6/29, and then, but I've been keeping an eye on the fundamentals of this one. This is not a, because I missed the Nikola move. In fact, on the Nikola move, I entered Nikola around 30 and then sold it down at 21 on someone else's comments, which I shouldn't have listened to. And then 3 weeks later, it went all the way up to 90. So in at 30, couldn't have been out at 80, 70, 80, 90, and I missed that. And so I was looking for an EV to trade, and Workhorse, they are in the last mile delivery van, so USPS, waiting on that contract. They work with Ryder, with UPS and DHL and those types of companies. So I have Workhorse here, sold it here, and then it came down. I re-entered, loaded my position, and now I've been holding it. I took some off yesterday, or last week. I took some off at $19.99, so that would have been somewhere, I believe in here. Let's see, what's that? 19. Yeah, I think it was on this day here that I took some off at $19.99. But I'm holding the remainder. I think I took 20% of my position off, but I'm holding the remainder of my position for the break of 30. So, and waiting for them to announce that, that possible contract with USPS, with the United States Postal Service. But so let's look at what I did today with it on my day trading account. So, talked about how today it was just running up, and then I started watching it around this time here, right? And I really wasn't sure if this thing was gonna continue to run up, but you can see here that it did a nice consolidation in this area here before breaking out. And so I was hesitant to jump in on it here because really don't know what's supporting it. I guess at this point it's just a trend play. It's trending off of the 9 and the 20. Came down, tested the 50 SMA on the 1, tested a couple times, just kind of hugging it here before it broke out. So it made a nice move. Let's just take a look at it on the 5 and see what it was doing. Kind of the same thing, right? It was just trending on the 9 and the 20, testing it here, testing it a few times here, consolidating, and that's where I jumped in. So you can see, go back to the 1, that I basically just scalped it a couple times here. Got in on a nice pullback. I noticed this pop. So after that big consolidation move, this is where that consolidation move ended that I was just referring to. Ended here. And so I was watching it and I saw this pop and this good energy to the move up to the next tier, to the next level, right? Which was above this daily high. So that would be today's high. Yeah, the pre-market high. So that was the level set today in the pre-market. But you can see it had a nice opening range break. Then it also tried to test that pre-market high again there, made a lower low, then came down, consolidated, and then it was making another attempt to get up there. And the SPY at this time was still making a nice run. So those are all part of the reasons that I saw it still moving upward. And then it's had just a lot of strength these last few days. So consolidation there. Consolidation there, the burst of energy on this candle. I waited for it to see if it was going to do a pullback here, and it didn't. It was just holding. So got a good entry below, the body of this candle. So the biggest pullback, I waited for it to test this 9 on the 1 and then bounce a little bit, and I jumped in. But look, this is all low volume. Got in, then I took a 50% partial at would have been, and so since I did that, my stop loss was literally, was right behind it. It wouldn't have been more than 5 cents. So if we put that up, you can see here, even my first partial was at 6R, which was 50% of the position, and then my second partial. So there's my entry there. 5R, 9R, 10R, so almost 11Rs, 10.5R for a quick scalp there, so a momentum play. And then had another pullback. So I saw this, what I thought might be exhaustive climactic volume, but look at those wicks on that. You really just don't know what it's doing. So it had another pullback, but it did it all on low volume. And so I went ahead and entered again on a really tight stop. My stop on this one was the loss of that same candle, because it had already made the move down here. So if it was going to continue down on this candle, then it would have already done it, and it would have, definitely engulfed the candle next to it. So let's see what that was. So I had my stop loss super tight there as well. Entry. Yeah, I got a little panicky on this one. I took a quick partial so that I could move my stop loss up to break even. Did that, and then realized that this could wick me out, so I actually moved my stop loss 1 cent lower than break even. It held that level, and then it went up, and I got a partial at 3R and then a partial at 5R. And then I noticed that just the volume in itself from here to here, even though it was getting good moves up like it was here, it was doing it on low volume. This volume was a lot lower than all the moves before, so this was kind of the initial exhaustive volume for another move down. So I went ahead and took, this was a panic partial, not a good partial there, but this next one I should have exited my entire position on either there or there. The reason I didn't take a partial up on this candle is because I took it here. I was holding the remaining position for, I don't remember what the level was that I saw quite a few asks on this symbol, but I would guess, yeah, I think I was holding it for this 75 level, but I was putting it like at 72, so right in here. And sure enough, it got there, but it took it a little while to come back and test the 50 again, hold on to the 50 before it made that move back up at the close. So let's scroll out and take a look at that actually. So let's remove this and scroll out, scroll over. So it did reach that 2375 level that I was hoping for, but at this point here I was not willing to leave my stop loss lower, so all of these here, even this one, those all would have wicked me out. So this would have been a in, all out, and then if I was still watching it, which I wasn't, maybe a re-entry here for that last little break with a super tight tight stop loss, but all of these were really tight momentum play stop losses. This one here, and then could have caught this one here. So I think I managed the trade well because I was not really given a lot of room with the stop loss once I partialed. So I would say this one was an A. This one was probably a B because I did take this one here was too soon of a partial, and this one here was a panic partial. But let's take a look at what the volume was on that. So maybe that's why I did it. So big volume on that candle, lower volume on the next candle, lower volume there. Yeah, so panic partial there. So A and a B minus here. Trade management was really good considering this was just a momentum scalp. Good recognition of the level 2 to see that this thing had so much strength. I think I had a good recognition of myself and the psychology, because when I see this kind of move like that, when I see this kind of move like this one here on that big burst of energy, I could, you know, I sometimes tend to try to get in if this candle, like a 3-bar play, if this candle doesn't break more than 30% of this, which would have been like 33% is there roughly, then I usually enter on the second one. So I think I did a pretty good, even though I entered at the same price over here, I probably would have entered up here. It was holding, so good job of not letting this move here on the first candle FOMO me and just waiting to see what it was going to do before the next move higher. So really good there on the trade management. And overall, yeah, probably a B plus trade for me today on Workhorse. Last minute scalp to make a little more on the P&L. So that was my trade on Workhorse for today. And thanks guys for listening in.